What is going on, YouTube? Look who's back.
I'm back.
He's finally here.
We're good.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
We're back for good.
All right. It's been a long time. It's been probably about a month now without Cameron. But he has returned. And today, special episode, not going to lie. College football semifinals. Big games here. Ohio State, Texas. Penn State, Notre Dame. Big games. Some of the final games of the college football season. Unfortunately, someone's team didn't make it.
It's all right. We don't gotta point fingers. It
But
happened.
one of our teams did, which is
That's good enough for me.
that's good enough. Exactly.
Good enough for me.
So we're gonna go deep dive into both games. We're gonna start with Ohio State, Texas, and then we're gonna have something a little different later on. Haven't done it before. We're gonna see how it works out. But if we'll jump right in right now, Ohio State versus Texas. There is not a lot to talk about in this game. I'm gonna tell you why. Ohio State is literally putting all their cards on the table. They don't care how they play. They don't care how they play. They don't care what they do. This team is playing at an absolute perfection right now. I don't think there is a single team that can stop them in the country at the moment. I don't know about.
I don't think.
I mean,
no. I don't think. I think going into, the playoffs here, and watching. Let's go back even further. Let's talk about Oregon and Penn State playing and the way that Oregon was portrayed as this perfectionist team. They were the best in the country. They were unstoppable. They looked like they were going to win it all going into the Penn State game. And I'm not trying to diss your team here, but I don't think either of us expected Penn State to play the way they did against Oregon.
I was not expecting that, especially not on offense like that.
And in my eyes, I didn't take that as, once again, not dissing your team, I didn't take that as a sign as Penn State was playing out of their minds. I took that as a sign that Oregon's vulnerable, and they got to play Ohio State. And it was up in the air from there. I thought Oregon was going to sweep the playoffs. They were going to win it all until I watched them play Penn State, and then it kind of, for me at least, went up in the air. And you see what happened. Oregon looked a little vulnerable. Ohio State played lights out, and it was done from there. But at this point, I think Ohio State is. I think the Michigan loss fueled something in them, and they just.
Oh, it lit a fire under their ass. There's no. Don't
playing.
Beat around the bushes. That literally sparked their whatever happened. That's what sparked it. 100%. They definitely felt what's the word I'm looking for? They felt almost disrespected by the public. They felt embarrassed, completely embarrassed. They thought it was the end, especially their fans. Their fans thought it was the end of the world. They called for Ryan Day's head. They're like, "Oh, if Ryan Day doesn't make the national championship, they should fire him."
Yeah.
I don't know about that anymore. I want to emphasize this. As big of an Ohio State hater as I am, I have never, ever understood the Ryan Day hate. I've never understood it at all. I will never get it.
He's kind of in the same boat as your coach.
He's not. He is not.
As a person who has heard about the hate, and I kind of understand the hate, I feel like he's kind of in the same boat where he gets them there, but he doesn't ever get them past where their talent should be. It's like their talent should be astronomical. I mean, the talent they have and the talent that they end up bringing to the NFL and stuff, they should be a national championship contending team. And I won't go as far as saying that they haven't brought teams great games in the playoffs in the last few years. It's just within the fans and the hate that goes towards him, in their eyes, he hasn't brought them where the fans think they deserve to be, which is a title. So, that's how I view it.
I guess, but I think it's not the fact that they're not winning national championships. I think it's more the fact that he's 1-4 now against Ryan Day, or Ryan Day,
Ryan
Michigan.
Day,
No,
That
versus
too.
Michigan, how they're
Their
one and
biggest,
four.
yeah, their biggest
That's it.
rivalry. Yeah.
That's all the Ohio State fans care about. Which, and Nick Saban said this. They need to get help because that's psychotic. You have a team that's going to win that's probably going to win the national championship, and Ohio State fans for some reason are still going to be pissed off at the whole Michigan thing. It's ridiculous. Like, just move on. Like, I get it's your rivals, but move on, please.
I get it. Yeah, no, it definitely plays a big factor, and that's a huge rivalry.
Hey, you want to fire Ryan Day? Send him over here. I'll take him. I'll take him. If you think Ryan Days is as good or as bad, or I shouldn't say as bad, if on the same level as James Franklin, you're out of your mind because Ryan Day has never lost to James Franklin.
I wasn't. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying that. Like, I wasn't saying they're on the same level. I was just saying I think the hate comes from just not
Ohio
being
State
able
fans
to win
view
the games
Ryan
that matter.
Ohio State fans view Ryan Day as a James Franklin, but what they don't realize is that he is far from, or I shouldn't say far from, but he is definitely a better head coach than James Franklin. Or at least he is just far he has.
In the fans' eyes, it's just not being able to win the games that the fans want them to win. But
yep.
I mean, I think it's as simple as that at the end of the day. But I mean,
all right, we spent a little too much time talking about just Ohio State, but let's actually talk about the game now because this game is. Like I said, to me, not interesting. I really don't see a path for Texas with the way Ohio State's been playing right now. I guess if there was a path, it would be low scoring. If you can get it to low scoring games somehow, they have a chance to win because they have probably one of, if not the best defenses in the country. Actually, maybe it might even be Ohio State's if we're being honest. They're just playing lights out all around.
I think the Texas defense is overhyped. Honestly, is the best defense in the country. I mean, you gave up 31 points to ASU. I'm not saying ASU was a bad team. I'm saying that's not the best defense in the country. And
I could see that.
I'm not saying
I could see that.
I'm not saying anything. Texas does have a path. I do think that Texas and their ability to win games resides upon how Quinn Ewers plays. If he has a good game, Texas has a good game. I mean, I think that's a general consensus for most quarterbacks, but Quinn Ewers is 50-50. He either has a really bad game or a really good game, and I think if they can ride on him, there may be a path for them to win this game.
There could be, but
I think personally this game's going to be decently high scoring. I could be totally wrong. I think it could go either way.
I mean, the over-under, I don't know what it is right now, but when I wrote it down, it was 53.5, which is decently high. Okay, it's the same. So it's decently high. Definitely higher than the Penn State Notre Dame game. But if there was a path for Texas to win, right now, honestly, my opinion, the path that I see them to win, if they can somehow, some way, shut down Jeremiah Smith, they got a shot. And because I think their defensive line's good enough to where they can hold Ohio State's run game. Because their run game has been great the past couple days, or the past couple games. But their run game this season overall hasn't been the greatest. And I think Texas's front seven, whatever you want to say about their defense in total, but their front seven's good. They have a great front seven. Their front seven's amazing. Highlighted by Anthony Hill Jr. He's only a sophomore, which is crazy. He leads the team in tackles. He's over 100 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and he has an interception. This guy just makes chaos, it seems like.
Big time.
Just chaos all over the field. So if that front seven holds up well in the run game, and they force Ohio State to, I say force them to pass, but actually, my bad. Let me if they get forced to run the ball, I should say, I think Texas has a chance here. If you force Ohio State to try to run them, if you can lock down Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka, then you got a chance.
I don't see it happening.
In my opinion,
I don't see it happening.
I think Jeremiah Smith is the best receiver in college football, and I don't even think it's close. Mm-hmm. He had 192 yards and 2 touchdowns against Oregon.
Yeah, on how many catches?
On 7 catches.
Exactly.
This kid is absolutely nuts. I have no idea why Chip Kelly said, I'm not going to use him this year. Just, After the first 5 games, I'm good. That's basically what happened.
Kind of.
Like he got like 6 or 7 touchdowns in like the first like 6 or 7 games. And then they just didn't use him pretty much for the rest of the season. Like against Penn State, I'm pretty sure he only had like 40 yards receiving. I know against Michigan he had a horrible game, but then the entire offense had a horrible game. And then he just exploded in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure he had over 100 yards against Tennessee, and then he had obviously almost 200 yards against Oregon in the Rose Bowl. But if
everything is just kind of on par between us. I mean, I don't see a path for Texas. If they do have a path, it's going to be through.
I'm not gonna lie. This game, I'm not gonna lie. The only reason why we're talking about this is because there's only 2 games. I genuinely think this is gonna be a blowout. Like this is gonna maybe not like what it was against Oregon. I don't think that's possible. I think Texas' defense is definitely better than Oregon's defense by a mile. Yeah. But this could, honest to God, I think end up being a 21-24 point win for Ohio State. Like
I honestly,
realistically, but not as big of an ass whooping as they gave Oregon, because they went up 34-0. I don't think it's going to happen like that.
I don't think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be Texas struggling to score at least touchdowns.
You said it was high. You said you thought it was going to be high scoring earlier.
I thought about it. I was saying it will be a high scoring game if Quinn Ewers can play well. It will be. I don't think it is. I think he's going to, get shut down a little bit. I think Texas is going to struggle to score. I think they're going to fizzle out in the red zone a little bit. I think they're going to be putting up field goals nonstop. At the end of the day, I think Ohio State, just outplays them in the red zone and they can get some touchdowns in, and, Texas is kind of going to struggle with that a little bit.
I'll say this. Statistically, these are the two best defenses in college football. When you look at just base stats, they're both top 2 in points per game allowed. Actually, I don't know if Texas is still. I don't know if this is updated. I kind of just I couldn't imagine everything would have shifted because of one game. Yeah. But Texas's defense is only giving up 11.7 points per game, and Ohio State is only giving up 11.1 points per game. Obviously, it could be a little higher, a little lower it could be a little higher for both teams, but I couldn't imagine it'd be that much different from these 2 games. They're both probably the best 2 pass defenses in the country. They're only giving up 145 passing yards a game, the 2 of them, and Ohio State's giving up under 100 rushing yards, and Texas isn't even giving up 105 per game.
The defenses are definitely great, and
they're there. But I think the Ohio State offense is just on a whole nother level at the moment that it's just not going to matter. It's just not going to matter. And I mean, I'll even throw it out there. I don't care who wins between Penn State or Notre Dame. Penn State could win again, or Penn State could face them again in the Natty. Notre Dame could face them in the Natty. I don't care. I don't think anyone's beating Ohio State. I just don't think so, and it sucks because their fans are going to be annoying about it. But
so is any of the fans of any of the teams that are going to win.
Yeah, but it's different with Ohio State fans. They still grasp onto the fact that they won a national championship 11 years ago or whatever it was at this point.
I guess
they don't let it go. Right. That's I don't know. Their fans suck. That's besides the point. Now, on to predictions. I mean, we kind of already thrown it out there. We'll do actual score for this one. Well, actually, we'll do it for both. But honest to God, if I had to throw out a prediction, I'd say Ohio State 38, Texas. You know what? I'll say 20. I say it's respectable, but it's a 3-score game.
I'm gonna go with Ohio State 31 to Texas is, we'll say 19. 31 to 19.
Yeah, and I'll say this, I think if there is going to be someone that has a big game, I think Jack Sawyer's going to have a big game. I think he's a douche, but I'm just going to keep it honest. What he did after the flag got planted and stuff was whatever, but he is playing on a different level right now, and there's no denying that. This kid is an amazing football player. Maybe he's I'm sure it's just the way the media highlights him in some I feel like the videos and stuff that pop up after games and stuff like that, and how Ohio State is viewed in the media. It's tough to have a true opinion on people's character, but I think Jack Sawyer's playing on a different level right now, and their secondary is playing on a different level right now. I think their defense is going to have a great game. and then they'll probably give up like garbage time touchdowns to Texas towards the end of the game.
Probably.
All right, now on to the actual, I think, probably the best game of this playoff. What's going to be? Maybe second best, because I don't know if there's going to be topping that Arizona State Texas game, but this game is very intriguing, very intriguing. Both of these teams, Penn State versus Notre Dame, in the Orange Bowl, at Hard Rock. This is a weird game, or I shouldn't say weird. This is a very interesting, closely matched teams. Their talent is like about the same level. Their play styles are very similar when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. I don't know how you view this game, but this game is an absolute toss-up in my opinion.
I honestly have no idea. I mean, I try to gauge my thoughts. This year, it's so hard to look at how a team plays and be able to sit here and say, or like a team's play style. It's so hard to sit there and look at a team's play style and be like, okay, well, this combats that. I mean, this team's a better team. There's been so much that's been different this year. It's so hard for me to be able to do anything other than look at how the recent games have gone and determine what goes from there. Adding on to that, obviously, Notre Dame played my team. I watched every ounce of that game last week, and I'm not going to sit here and say Notre Dame is a bad football team. I think we played a bad game. We had some unfortunate things happen. I think that game was very winnable for us. Do I think we were a national championship caliber team this year? Absolutely not.
That's what I was gonna bring that up, because like you said, I think Notre Dame's a great football team, but I think, and this is me included, by the way, I think there were so many holes on that Georgia offense with the run game, like their wide receiver issues with the drops and everything, and I think everybody overlooked it. And,
everyone overlooked it because
they just thought that Georgia was gonna
they
just
won
like
that
do
game.
Georgia things.
It was overlooked because Notre Dame won that game by a decent enough margin to be able to call it a blowout of Georgia, and it's just because everyone's been looking for Georgia to lose at this point in the season. I hate to say it, we have made it to the point where we're not liked. I will step away from that game, go towards Notre Dame, saying I don't think they're a bad football team. I think that they should have won that game by much more than they won that game. I think you're discrediting Georgia's defense a lot, though, because Georgia's defense is still when they have to play, they play. Decent. When they have to play, they play. I will say, the secondary stepped up. That was the best I've seen the secondary play all year. I still want to step away from that game. I don't want to talk about that game too much.
That's fair. It's fair.
Yeah. I do want to, highlight the fact that I was saying as I look at how the teams have played recently, and, Notre Dame played Indy. I don't really. It's hard to tell. I was
the
so
first
hard
round
for me to
shouldn't
tell
even
if
be
Indy
looked
was
at, in my
good.
opinion.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's so hard to look at the first round because it's like I couldn't tell if Indy was good or not. They had a great season. I think, with the new playoff, they deserve to be in the playoff. But there's the whole argument, far-fetched with the they didn't deserve to be in. It's like they won it. They had a good season. Whatever.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Georgia's a different story. Georgia, is a highly credited team. Notre Dame had a great win and capitalized on the problems that Georgia had last week. I still think that Notre Dame should have won that game by more points with the mistakes that were made by Georgia and the problems that we've had all season. Building on that, I think Penn State's coming off some really, really good games. Within the playoff, within the championship game, I think they're coming off some really good games. And I mean, you look at the matchup predictor here, it would be split for a normal game. That's pretty 50-50. Notre Dame's have favored pretty heavily for a playoff.
I don't
agree with that. I do
hate
agree with the
FPI
fact
so
that
much.
I think this is going to be a very 50-50 game.
Exactly.
I think Penn State's hot right now, and I think Notre Dame's hot, but I think Penn State's a lot warmer right now.
I'll tell you. I'll say this to you. If you want to talk, you looked at the matchup predictor. Dude, go back to what we just looked at. Texas.
Yeah, that game was 50-50.
Texas was projected to win on FPI.
Yeah, that game was 50-50. They
I
were
hate
favored.
it. FPI is the weirdest and dumbest prediction scale ever. It's never accurate. Like their top five had Alabama. Their top five had Alabama at the end of the season.
At the end of the day, Penn State's been being called overrated all season. This is their game to prove it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I don't even have a score prediction for this game. I have no idea how this game's going to go. I could see Notre Dame getting blown out. I could see Penn State getting blown out. I could see it being a shootout. I could see it being a 3-6 game. I can see anything going in this game. I'm going to be so honest with you.
Well, I'll tell you this. You'll have a better viewpoint about this game after I tell you because I've been following all week. Shout out Landon Tangwell, former Penn State offensive lineman that I believe had to medically retire. He has been doing a amazing job keeping up with film breakdowns and stuff. He's great. If you don't follow him on X, you should follow him if you're a Penn State fan because he does great breakdowns of every game. But what I've been following with all throughout the weekend, Notre Dame's defense and Penn State's defense, they have played so much cover one lately, so they leave their corners on islands. And here's what's interesting about the Notre Dame defense, especially they play cover one, leave their corners on islands, they play one high safety, and then they play Xavier Watts as like a free roamer.
Mm-hmm.
So
they
he
showed that in the
plays
Georgia game
everywhere.
a lot. He played that a
he
lot
plays
in the Georgia
everywhere.
game, where he would drop back into a spy, or he would go out and cover one of the wideouts.
He can cover any. He can cover
did
anyone.
Everything, and there was multiple times where they threw him on a spy a lot because I think Notre Dame was a little nervous because there was no film on Gunner. All you have on him is his size and the fact that he's a little bit of a runner, a little bit more so than Carson Beck. So they had him on spy a lot, and he was damn good at it too. He's everywhere. He is everywhere at all times.
Well, and okay, so back to the Notre Dame side of the defense. What made them so dominant against Georgia was actually their blitz schemes. Their blitz schemes were so next level, and I forget what his name is, but their defensive coordinator, I think, is the best defensive coordinator left the best coordinator left in the playoff, offense or defense. What he's been able to do with how much injuries the Notre Dame, especially their front seven, has had lately, has been unbelievable. Especially against Georgia's offensive line. I mean, they had them running in circles because there was so many. His blitz designs are so good because they can. It gets the middle of the offensive line open because it makes somebody go double team and then they send in another guy later and then the quarterback just hung out to dry. There's nothing they can do, and especially with how good their secondary is. They don't have to worry about anything because they're so good in coverage. They probably have the best secondary left in the playoff for sure, in my opinion.
I'm not gonna discredit their blitz, their defensive line, any of that. I do want to eliminate talking about Georgia versus Notre Dame in that sense.
Well, you don't have to eliminate it. This is what we have to go off of right now because there's not much. This is their most recent matchup, so
I get it.
That's what you're gonna have to go off of. I know you don't want to talk about it, but
no. It's not that I don't want to talk about it. It's that I know how Georgia's offensive line is, and they might have weighed more. They might have talked about how much bigger they were than Notre Dame's defensive line. Georgia's offensive line was horseshit this year. They were horrible. There was so many mistakes.
Standards.
For Georgia standards, yes.
For Georgia standards, yes.
You cannot, I was a Carson Beck hater for a long while in the season. Mm-hmm. Watching that game,
I low-key always had belief in
watching
him,
the Notre Dame game and watching another quarterback step in. None of the problems changed. It's been the O-line all season. For Georgia standards, the O-line has been horseshit. I don't want to discredit Notre Dame's blitz. They have a great blitz. They have a great defensive scheme. I don't think the matchup there is against Georgia's O-line because they are not great. They were not great this season. I think it was our biggest problem this season besides the wide receiver drops. Moving away from that. Mm-hmm. I think when it comes to Notre Dame's offense, what Penn State needs to watch for is the same thing that tore Georgia apart, is Riley Leonard's feet.
Yes,
He
100%.
is fast. I did not realize how fast he is.
He's the best. Well, he runs like Josh
shifty.
Allen. He
He's
runs like
shifty.
Josh Allen almost, and then he'll run into you too. That's the thing.
Yeah,
he'll run
he
into
took
you
some
as well.
hits. He took some hits.
He
He's shifty.
I don't know how big he is, but he runs like he's Josh Allen size.
He's
He
quicker.
probably is close. I think he's thinner.
I think
he's
the
more
height
lean,
is there,
but he's the same
definitely
height.
thinner.
Yeah, I think
He's
the
definitely
same
thinner.
height.
Josh Allen's got a little bit. I think a little bit of chunk to him, but he's got the height. I'm not
That's
lying.
just funny.
I think,
No,
I
it's a
think
funny-
Josh
it was
Allen's
just
got
a funny
little
word.
Bit of, little bit of,
It was just a
little bit of
funny
weight
word.
on him. Riley Leonard's a tall, skinny guy, and he can move. And Penn
Well,
State's
but
gotta
here's
be careful
the
for that
thing.
because if nothing's open in the wide out or nothing's open deep or whatever they're running, he will move it. He'll pick up
here's the
5-6
thing.
yards.
Here's the thing. So Notre Dame is a very run-heavy offense, extremely run-heavy offense. They average more rush yards per game than pass yards per game, which doesn't happen often. It does not happen very often. And what Penn State absolutely has to do is force him to throw the ball. If they can live off the run game, they're not going to stop Notre Dame's offense. So this is where I think Georgia did well against Notre Dame, is I think they really didn't, because here's the thing. Here's the way I look at the Notre Dame offense last game specifically. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame's whole offense pretty much was off of one turnover and one special teams touchdown. Outside of that, they scored 2 field goals. Mm-hmm. So it was a quick field flip, and it was a special teams touchdown right out the gate of the second half. So honest to God, if you look at how Notre Dame's offense played, it honestly wasn't amazing. But
No, it wasn't.
Again,
you have to.
They did what they have to do to win the football game, and I think that's what Notre Dame is so good at.
It was time management. Exactly. It was the time management, and that was what tore us apart. Was the defense was on the field for nearly, I don't even know, 35, 40 minutes of that game. Like they were on the field considerably more than the offense was. It tore them apart. They moved the ball. Now everyone was saying, watch Jeremiah Love. We shut him down.
Well, you actually hurt him a little bit too.
I think Price is going to be the guy to watch. That's the backup running back.
Jadarian Price.
Yeah.
I posted
Price
a TikTok
is going to be the guy to watch.
I posted a TikTok of most underrated players left in the playoff on each team, and I posted the best player.
He is going to be the guy to watch. And if you guys shut down the run,
he's good.
If you guys shut down the run, they're going to shift to the same thing they did. Because we were shutting down the run, they're going to shift to the same thing that they were doing. It's pass plays, and if nothing's open, Riley Leonard's picking up 5 or 6 yards.
Yep.
That was the offense.
And it's very evident in there.
It was
they almost played that Georgia game. They almost played that game last week. Mm-hmm. Almost like if they were Army, if that's if you kind of get what I'm saying, they just tried to keep the lead and just bleed the clock. They didn't care how much they won by. They didn't care how they won. They just wanted to have the lead and bleed the clock. That's all they wanted to do. Now, if Penn State can stop the run, which I think they can, and hopefully Abdul Carter is healthy, this is the best. I don't care what anyone says, this is the best defender in college football. There's no doubt about this. Hopefully he's healthy. He keeps posting Star Wars stuff every day about Vader and how him and his healing chamber, how he's progressively healing super fast. I don't know if I think I sent that to you.
You did.
But but if he's healthy, and honestly, if he's healthy, Penn State can stop the run. I really think it's going to be difficult because Notre Dame's wide receivers aren't great. They're not great. And before Notre Dame fans attack me or attack anyone, you don't have a wide receiver over 500 yards.
Yeah.
You don't have a wide receiver over 500 yards. There's nobody you can trust. That's the problem. There's no one that Riley Leonard can say, oh, it's a 4th down or a crucial 4th down or crucial 3rd down. Oh, I'm just going to go to this guy. Yeah. Even though Drew Aller doesn't have great receivers this year, he still has Tyler Warren, and Tyler Warren's a guy that you can go to. Yeah. They have Mitchell Evans, who is a great tight end, but he hasn't done much this year in the pass game, and I think that's because of their play style. Like, I don't even think he only has like 300 yards receiving this year, which is kind
Yeah,
of
but I
crazy
want to
to me.
highlight that comment about I think it's because of the play style. I think that's the same with Notre Dame. As I understand, you don't have anyone over 500 yards on the wide receiver, and that's pretty low. That's pretty low. Not a single.
They don't have a
wide
500
receiver.
yard. They don't have a
Yeah,
500 yard receiver in general.
I know.
Not
They don't
just
have a
wide
single.
receiver.
I know they don't have a
Yeah.
single wide receiver over 500 yards. I know, 100%. That goes in term with their play style as well.
No,
They run the
I'm
ball.
not. I know.
Oh yeah,
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Across the board, they have good wide receivers. They don't have anyone that's great. They're not bad either. It's just they're reliable, but the run game has been the focus for Notre Dame all year.
Exactly. And if Penn State probably will end up having to play this game like how they played Boise. You stack the box, you leave your corners on islands, and hopefully they cover. And it worked. It 100% worked. They gave Ashton Genty his absolute worst game of the year. It wasn't even close. He still ran for over 100 yards, but he was only at like 3.5 yards a carry. It was not pretty. He wasn't effective at all last game. And that's what they have to do. So Jeremiah Love is going to play. I'm like 100% positive he's going to play. He is not going to be 100%, they said. So Jadarian Price is going to get a lot of touches.
Price is going to be the guy to watch.
He's going to get a lot of carries. And I'm not saying Price is bad. He has great stats. But if they shut him down and they can't go to Love, I think this Penn State defense is going to be a good spot. I really do. I really think they're going to be a good spot. Easier said than done, but yeah. I think they're going to be in a great spot because they did so well against such a run-heavy team. Now, obviously, I don't think you can compare Boise's O-line to Notre Dame's O-line, but I think they held the top draft prospect top running back in the country to under 4 yards a carry, and that's very tough to do. That is so tough to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's how Penn State wins the game on defense. How Penn State has to win the game on offense is, again, I think through their run game. I think Singleton's hot. Katron Allen's is hot. They're both on fire right now. The two of them, the only 2,000-yard rush duo with 1,000 yards each in the country. And Singleton was hurt a couple games this year. So it's pretty crazy. Katron Allen has probably been, and I know this probably will sound biased, in this playoff, I think he has been the best running back in the playoff so far. If you look at his stats in those two games, especially against Boise, dude, he had like 14 carries for 134 yards against Boise.
Scat.
My bad, Scatterboo.
Don't disrespect
My bad,
Scatpack.
Well, okay, yeah, my bad, Scatterboo. Second best.
There you go.
Because even Ashton Genty did not play that well
In the playoff, no.
in the playoff. Obviously, if we look at the grand scheme of things,
I know where you're going. Yeah. In the playoff, playoffs are a different story.
I think Katron Allen has been, now that you
second best.
got my memory back there. I think he's been playing like the second best running back in the college playoff. And I don't care what Notre Dame fans say. Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, as of right now, going into this game, are the best running back duo in the country. They're the only guys with 100, or they're the only guys with
on paper. On paper, it doesn't lie. I mean, it really doesn't.
I mean, everyone brings up that Katron Allen, or like Notre Dame's this week have been bringing up that Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. If Jadarian Price had their carries, he'd be amazing, and this and that. He would start at Penn State. No, he wouldn't. Please stop. Stop. Jadarian Price is great running back. He's not better than Katron Allen or Nick Singleton right now. He could prove me wrong because I'm going to the game. I'll see it in person. If he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. But on paper, Penn State is leading in running backs right now. Especially with Jeremiah Love not being on 100%. So let me go on from that rant. So if Penn State runs the ball effectively and they stop Notre Dame's run game, I think that's the key to success. Will it happen? Probably not. Obviously, I think both teams are really gonna have to throw the ball to win this game. If that comes down to it, I think possibly, although Notre Dame definitely has the worst passing attack, Notre Dame's secondary is the best in the college playoff right now. So it's going to be tough for Penn State to throw the ball unless Tyler Warren gets going. If it comes down to a passing game and Tyler Warren goes off, he has a USC game. You know what game I'm talking about. If he has 17 catches for 220 yards, then we'll have a different discussion. But if Penn State gets forced to pass, it could be tough for them. If Notre Dame gets forced to pass, it's going to be close. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be a great game.
It's going to be a fantastic game. I don't think
game.
Every prediction that I have seen this week, I don't think is accurate. I don't think most of the predictions that I've seen this week, if from Notre Dame fans, have been like 30-17 for Notre Dame, and from Penn State fans, it's been the same. Let's cut all the bullshit aside. This game is going to be a one-score game, and I may have a heart attack in the stands. Let's be honest here. Your boy's going to have a heart attack in the stands. This game will be a one-score game. It's going to be a fantastic game. I think it has the chance of being the best possible. It has the chance of being a best game in the college football playoff. The only game that might be better would be that Arizona State-Texas game. But now let's go down to predictions, because I just brought up what I've been seeing around.
This is your prediction.
Now let's go down to prediction.
I already told you I'm not.
You got to throw one out there. You got to throw one out there.
I have no confidence in knowing where this could go. I said it earlier. Right. This could be a blowout on either side.
It's not going to be a shootout. I know you said earlier it could be a shootout. Trust me, it's not going to be a shootout. These defenses are way too good for it to be.
Maybe at a minimum it won't be a shootout, but at the same time.
Everyone keeps saying this. These are the four best. The four teams that are left in the college playoff have the four best defenses in the country. Just so we're clear, these are the four best defenses in the country. And Penn State and Notre Dame, they have two of the top four defenses in the country. This is going to be a low-scoring game, and the over/under agrees with that.
Over/under, it's like 40-something.
Yeah. When I had it written down, it was 46.5. I don't know what it is right now.
44.5. It went down.
Yeah, it's even gone down even lower. And the spread has gone down to 1.5 in favor of... So this game is an absolute toss-up to Vegas. And if you guys don't know, Vegas knows all. Just so we're clear here. Vegas knows all. They know how every game's going to go. If I had to throw out a prediction, this is going to be tough to really be accurate on this, I think. This is going to be a great game. I will emphasize that. This is going to be a very, very heart attack game. I will be losing my brain in the seats, probably. If I had to throw out a prediction, I would say Penn State wins 23-20. I think Penn State makes enough plays on offense with Tyler Warren and Nick Singleton or Katron. I don't think both of them are going to have good games. I think one of them is going to stand out, so they will end up getting more of the carries, kind of like how Jeremiah Love gets more carries over Jadarian Price. But they're going to go with the hot hand at running back. I think one of the two of them has a good game. Not a great game. I'm not going to say Katron Allen's going to run like he did. He's not going to run for 8 yards a carry like he did against Boise. But I think they make enough plays on offense, and I think defense holds up well enough to where they score. They just have to score 23 to win. I think that's the key here. They don't have to score a lot to win this game. And I think Penn State has a better chance of scoring scoring enough points to win than Notre Dame does.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with 20-17 game-winning field goal by Penn State.
I thought you said you weren't giving one.
We're going to go with
You'll just throw it out there. Game-winning field goal. Ryan Barker, he hit the night on USC earlier this year, so maybe he can do it again.
Game-winning field goal from Penn State to win it 20-17. All
right. And like I said, I will be at this game. Our friend Ty will be at this game. He's a Notre Dame fan. So we will have two fans at the game for content that we like each team. So it's gonna be crazy good content. I'll probably post it all on TikTok. I don't think I'll post it on Instagram, or definitely not on YouTube. But yeah, it's gonna be a very hype game. It's gonna be crazy atmosphere.
Yeah, speaking of, before you make your way too far away, you're watching right now. Go TikTok, Instagram, All Ball at CNE. Same as our YouTube. Drop a follow, hit some likes, do whatever. Engagement.
You heard
anything.
the man.
Drop some follows.
You heard the man. All right. So those are our predictions for the two college playoff games that are the semis.
Yep.
Now we're gonna move into something interesting. we couldn't think of what to do segment wise because most of the time we have a good idea of what to do segment wise. But
I think we came.
We're gonna try something. I think we did cook. I think we cooked. We'll shout out Cameron for this one because I want to do something different. But not as a segment overall. It was going to be a tier list no matter what because that's all we could think about. Mm-hmm. But we're going to do, if you could pull it up.
I got it. I'm waiting.
We are
waiting for you to drop the reveal.
We're gonna rank teams on how we think they're going to be next year. This will be Power 5.
Yeah,
I know there's
teams.
probably some CFB gurus that are like, "Oh, you guys have no
AAC?
brain. Where's the AAC? Where's Kennesaw State?
Kennesaw State's gonna be a conference contender next
Jacksonville
year.
State's gonna." Okay, we love college football. We're not gurus like that. We got ball knowledge. We're not crazy.
We also don't have the time to rank every
134 teams.
team.
Just so we're clear here.
If you want to see
honestly,
that. Let us know because we'll live stream it.
If we're missing a team on here, please let us know. This is
we just grabbed the first one. I'm gonna be so honest. We might realize halfway through. I don't know
that we might forget one, but
what do we want to do? Do we want to go top down? Do we want to just?
We're just gonna go.
We're just gonna
go as it shows on screen. We're gonna start. We're just gonna go for it.
So we're starting with the Gators.
We're starting with the Gators, and I think this is going to be a great team. I think this is a
beautiful team to start with. I think we're looking at a conference contender at this point.
I think we are as well. I think we're looking at an SEC championship contender. I think we're looking at a playoff contender. I don't.
If DJ Lagway can stay healthy, we're looking at a playoff contender.
Well, here's the thing: if they're a conference contender in the SEC, they're probably a CFB contender.
True.
That's a good point. I think we. So we'll do the top as also there's no divisions left, and I don't think there's any divisions left in college football. Maybe just the SEC. There's the names are kind of like messed up. So we'll do the top. Just think of it as national title contenders, and then we'll do CFP contenders because now that there's 12 teams, this is probably really old. 2021. So this is a long time ago. Yeah, title contenders and then CFB contenders because there's a big difference now. And I think Florida is easily with DJ Lagway is definitely a playoff contender next year. They have such a young team this year, and they showed that early on, but they got more experience, and they finished the season amazing. Pretty sure they finished the season with 8 wins. I think they finished at 8-5.
They played
well. This offense is going to be. This offense, at least, is going to be insane, and they're getting a lot of portal guys too. I'm pretty sure they're bringing in some good players. So definitely playoff contender in my eyes. Missouri.
I think we're looking at average here.
I'm not going to disagree with you. They're losing Luther Burden next year.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know what that was either, but we'll speed past that. They're losing Luther Burden. I think they're losing Brady Cook. They are bringing in the GOAT, Bro Perbula, but. That's besides the point.
They're going to be.
But I don't think Missouri.
They didn't do much this year.
They were supposed to be a top 10 CFB contender or CFP contender this year, and they shat the bed. They shat the bed this year. They were an average team this year, and I don't see them getting. Well, I wouldn't say average. They were above average. I think they ended up being like 9-4 after the bowl game. I think did they lose their bowl game or did they win? I don't remember. They played Iowa. I don't remember who won, but
I think it was a 3-point game or something. I think Missouri won by 3 points.
Yeah, but I think Missouri's definitely average, and I think we both agree on that.
Big time.
All right, Oregon State. I don't know how to. I'm not gonna lie. Don't know how to rank them. I don't know who they're bringing in next year. I don't know who they're losing.
They were pretty average this year, right?
I mean, they played a lot of Mountain West teams because of the. I honestly think, well, because they don't have a conference right now. Really, they're just kind of the Pac-2 with Washington State. I could even say just bad. I don't think Oregon State's gonna be. I think they're gonna be a 7 to 8 loss team next year potentially. I don't think we really need to. Honestly, if we're wrong, please let us know. Because we don't have the biggest brain knowledge on Oregon State.
Some of these, some of the smaller teams. that haven't
Some
been
of
done.
these are going to
Yeah.
be a little like foggy for us,
Just a bit.
just kind of basing off of what we kind of saw this season. But Texas A&M's a great one. I think above average is perfect. I think that's true. I don't think they're not gonna contend for the SEC. I guess they technically did this year, but they collapsed at the end of
Fell
the year.
off pretty hard, yeah.
They lose like 4 games in a row at the end of the season, I think, because they finished
I don't
they
know.
finished no they finished 8-5 because they
yeah,
lost
they
to
lost a
USC
lot.
in that bowl game. So yeah, I think they'll be like an 8 or 9 win team again next year, possibly 10 with a bowl game. You never know, but
Yeah.
I think that's a great ranking. They are losing some guys, I think, to the portal, but I also think they're bringing in some guys. Who'd you get? What's his name? I forget his name is.
Noah Thomas.
That's
We lost.
okay.
They lost Noah Thomas to Georgia.
That's
just
one of
today.
their bigger receivers that they just lost, so that could definitely hurt them next year. I don't know what they're looking at quarterback wise next year. It could be Marcel Reed still. He's pretty good, but yeah, I think above average. I think we're probably gonna agree a lot on this. I think so. I think we'll probably agree a good amount.
No, I think so too. I mean, maybe some
Yeah.
of these teams that we know about, we don't know about.
Wake Forest. This is one that I literally I could not tell you. I think maybe I'm pretty sure they landed a quarterback in the portal. I don't know where from.
I think they'll be pretty average next year. I think.
Did they make a bowl game this year? They might have. I could be wrong though.
I don't know.
I literally
actually
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
At the end of the day, I think they're going to be pretty decent next year. I mean, just going
me-
out
let
on a
me-
whim here.
Let me look this up. Did they make a bowl game? Schedule. They did not make a bowl game. They were 4-8 this year.
Okay.
So we may have to
we'll
move
put
them
them-
down to bad. We'll you know what? We'll keep them average. Let's say they'll increase.
There we go. That's a little bit better.
Yeah,
Bowl
you're probably
teams.
right. South Carolina. Get them into playoff contenders. They were a playoff contender this. Excuse me.
I'm
do you
kidding,
know
I'm kidding.
Lenore Sellers is a beast.
I think
absolute monster.
I agree with you. I think they're going to be pretty good next year.
They did lose to Illinois in their bowl game. However, I think, in my opinion, when everyone's talking about Ole Miss, Alabama, Miami, I think at the best team at that point, they would have never made it in the playoff because they lost to Ole Miss and Alabama. But I think the best team at the end of the season, going into the playoff, of those teams was South Carolina, in my opinion. I think they were the best at that point. I think they probably will be. They'll definitely be just as good as this year. I think they're going to be a little better. I think they're going to be on that bubble again. They may be a 10 seed, maybe an 8, like a 9 seed, maybe an 11 seed in the playoff potentially next year. Depends what their schedule looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know what their schedule looks like next year. I'm sure it's tough. I'm sure you're going to have to play Georgia or Alabama or Ole Miss again or this and that. You know, it always happens.
They'll probably end
that
up
way.
playing Georgia because we didn't play them this year. So we'll probably.
But I
have
think
them
I
next
think
year.
they definitely are playoff contenders next year. I really don't think it's a debate in my opinion. Vanderbilt above average.
They
Put
had
them
their
up there and
Cinderella
above
year.
average.
They had their Cinderella
I think they're
year.
going to improve though because they're getting Diego Pavia back, and I think that is a great. He single-handedly changed college football this year
It's
by eliminating the JUCO years.
It's kind of in there for me, right?
I think they're going to be above
between.
average. They were already a bowl team this year, and they won their bowl game.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna. Honestly, I think if you had to grade them this season, I think they were above average, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think they're just kind of on that cusp of bowl teams. They had big wins, but in terms of being an above average
I
team, I
think-
don't know if they were quite there.
I think that Vanderbilt will be a 8-win team next year.
I
with their
agree.
bowl game.
They're
think
kind of
they will
in the
be an
middle there.
18
They could be a
win
7-8 win team. I think that's.
I think their head coach is doing a great job. I don't remember his name, but their head coach is doing a fantastic job there. He gave them. I could not tell you last time Vanderbilt won or went to a bowl game. They have been the laughingstock of Power 5, Power 4 for the last decade, probably. Funny enough, I don't think they've ever won an SEC championship.
I don't think they have either.
I don't mean to roast them, but this is one of the crazy stats in college football. Tulane has an SEC championship,
I do know that.
and Vanderbilt does
Maybe
not.
it does not. Yeah.
And Tulane hasn't been in the SEC for a long time.
Yeah. Now this is an
right.
interesting one. ASU.
Arizona
I think-
State. Title can no not
I
title
really-
playoff
I really
above average.
You really
you think they're gonna
that they
step
stay?
back?
You think that
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But remember, they are playing in the Big 12, which I personally think is, well, okay, we'll say this. They're the third best Power 4 conference because the ACC has looked horrendous this bowl season. I think going into next year, Kenny Dillingham's going to be. I think it's tough to say that they're not playoff contenders because realistically, who in their conference is going to really outshine them next year? It's tough to say. Like, you got to remember their conference because if they win the conference, they get in.
The way the conference works, yeah. I mean,
I'd say they're playoff contenders.
Contenders again, simply because of the way that the playoff works now.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any other way to put it
Arizona.
besides that.
Arizona's interesting. I believe they're getting Fifta back. Noah Fifta. They redid the NIL.
Mm-hmm.
The NIL discussions. They were bad this year. I think they were 4-8. They were definitely a lot worse than people thought they were going to be this year. Especially, I think their defense was really not great.
I think they're going to get a bowl game next year. I think they're going to be pretty average. I really don't see them doing great, but I don't see them doing as bad as they did this year. Let's get them in a bowl game. 6-win team.
You know what?
Just lay it out right there.
You know what? Fine. I'll give it to you. Arkansas. Interesting team right here. Would they finish this year? Hold on. Let me check. I think they made a bowl game, right?
I don't know if they did.
I think they did. Did they win a bowl game? It looks like they did. Unless that was last year.
I don't know if they did.
Schedule. Let's see. They did.
Okay.
The Liberty Bowl against Texas Tech, I think they were just on the cusp. I think they were a 6-win team.
I think they were a 6-win team.
They did win the bowl game, though. They did win the bowl game against Texas Tech. I think this is a bowl team again next year.
I don't think this is any more than a bowl team.
Especially with how tough the SEC is going to. I think the SEC is going to be all over the place next year, like it kind of was this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really. Again, this is one of those ones. I mean, I know you are obviously an SEC fan. You would know more about this. Me personally couldn't really tell you outside that. I think they're probably good enough to be a bowl team. I don't know if they're going to be above average. I don't know if Sam Pittman's coming back next year or not. Who knows? But for now, we'll just keep them. We'll keep them bowl team. And around next season, we'll probably come back to this as well.
I think we could too. Yeah, we could.
We'll come back to this as well.
Back.
Now Auburn
side by side. Auburn absolutely horrendous this year compared to last year's. Very disappointing to see that Auburn fell off as hard as they did. Honestly,
did they even play well last year?
I don't think it was great last year, but it was not 4-7. I'll tell you that.
You're right. You're probably right about that. But honestly, are they going to improve
from here? I don't know what changes from here. I
think the only thing that changes is Hugh Freeze.
I don't think that's
it.
Do.
Like if they don't fire Hugh Freeze, I think they're just going to be a bunch of.
That's what I'm saying.
Mediocreness.
I think they're still down here in a bad team.
I'm gonna put them there until Auburn proves otherwise.
I'd
so.
Say
that. I think that. Interesting one.
I mean, this one.
Bama. Milrow's not coming back. He's declared. I don't know what they lost in the portal so far. I don't know what they're gaining.
They've lost.
I can't put them.
I haven't seen big gains from them. I can't put them at title contender. I can easily put them at.
I can't put them at above average though. It's Alabama at the end of the day. They're going to be contending for a playoff, especially in a 12 team.
They're going to be playoff contenders, but I don't know if they're title contenders. I mean,
exactly.
It's as simple as that. It's Alabama.
Baylor Bears. This is interesting to me. I'm pretty sure they actually finished very good this year.
They
finished fifth in the Big 12. 8-win team. They were 8-win regular season team, which is even crazier. They actually started very poor. They lost to Utah. They lost to Colorado. They lost to BYU. They lost to Iowa State. And then they kind of went on a little run. Then they went on a nice little 4-game. Those were all
decent teams. If you look at that, those were all pretty.
They finished the season. It looked like on a 6-game win streak. I think they were 2-4.
You look at that. That's kind of a gauntlet for them in the beginning of the season.
Yeah. That's not. I mean, well,
I think
let's
at the end of the day,
pipe it on Utah, but they could be. They were above average this year. I think they definitely shocked some people. I think their QB's coming back next year. I think we could be looking at an above average team here. I think we'd be looking, especially in the Big 12. I think we could be looking at another 7 to 9 win season for them.
I don't think you're wrong.
All right, Boston College. This is this is one of the most interesting teams in my opinion. This team fell off a massive
overrated.
cliff. They
Hugely
fell off a
overrated.
huge cliff after they beat Florida State. Thomas Castellanos is not coming back. Obviously, he got benched and then he entered the portal mid-season, and then there was this and that, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I'll give them a bowl game next year. I think they ended up missing the bowl game this year. I think they ended up with 5 wins.
I believe.
Oh no! They made one. I think they played like it was. They played out. I think they might have played. They played Nebraska. That's what it was. I think they played Nebraska. I think it was Nebraska.
They did. They lost to Nebraska, but
yeah, I definitely.
I think
Bill O'Brien,
Castellanos,
head coaches.
I might have seen something about him going to FSU.
I think he did.
I don't remember if I did see that correctly or not. I
could see both team. Here. I think that's where Boston College pretty much is. They're always lurking around 5 to 7 wins every year, and I don't think that's going to change particularly. Yeah. Cal is an interesting one too. This is a team that almost beat Miami earlier in the season, and then they were. Everyone knew how good this roster was.
They didn't do anything with it.
But they didn't do any
to finish the season. Lost their bowl game.
We'll say bowl. I think bowl team. Again. Remember, this is bowl teams are technically below average teams in our opinion here. Like they're below average, but they're not bad. They're good enough to go 6 wins, but you're not good enough to. Well, actually,
6-7 wins.
They're average. They're average. Like literally
6
average,
and 6 or 7-5 teams are the bowl teams here.
Clemson University, Dabo Swinney. This is an interesting one. I'm going to say playoff contender because of how bad the ACC is.
Because of the ACC.
Yeah, the ACC is not good.
ACC. Yeah,
the ACC, and they've proved it. They've proved how bad they are. I'm pretty sure they're like 2-10 or something in bowl games. They have the most teams make bowl games, but they have by far the worst record, and it's not even close of power conference. Actually, of any conference, like FBS entirety, like group of 5 or not. They were not good They were the ACC was not great this year.
No, it was horrible.
But with Clemson, Dabo Swinney, I think Klubnik's probably coming back. I think he's coming back next year. They're gonna be at least a great offense. I think
probably.
The Colorado Deion Sanders.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Above average. I think above average.
I don't. I personally
Again, they're playing the Big 12. You got to remember.
I know they're.
I don't know who they're
Big 12.
replacing.
This
I don't know
team. I think.
Oh no! Remember the quarterback? They did get that 5-star quarterback coming out of high school.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I still think that next year this team is going to fall off of a cliff. I think that they are going to be a average bowl team. I don't see it. 7-win team, maybe 8. They're on that cusp of above average and bowl team. I think that they're,
I'll give you bowl team. I'm not going to argue against it because I think it's possible, but I think they'll still be a 8 or 9 win team.
I think that that's the more likely route. Duke.
This could be interesting. They got that guy. They got the quarterback they lost Malik Murphy. Great quarterback. They play in the ACC again, like we said. Not a great conference, so you don't know how that's going to pan out. I think they're above average. I think they are. And yes, did they get smoked by Ole Miss? Absolutely. They didn't have Malik Murphy at quarterback.
Playing, no.
They didn't have anyone on their defense, and their defense was their best. I think a lot of their defense either transferred or opted out or something. Yeah, this is an above average team. This is an 8 or 9 win team. Manny Diaz is doing a great job down there. First year. Yeah, I think Duke's gonna be good. Florida State, I'm gonna go bowl team. You can't go 2-10 and then say above average in my opinion. You got to get back to.
I was more or less debating if you think that.
No, I wasn't. I was just saying it.
Again.
I said.
I mean,
when I say you, I mean like in general.
Oh
like
no, I was
not like you specifically.
I was more leaning towards if you thought this team wasn't going to make a bowl or not. I think that they can sneak through and make a bowl.
Yeah, no, again, I think so too, but I don't think you can put them above average. And you got to prove otherwise coming off a 2-10 season.
I think they've got some big pickups in the transfer and some of the.
And they also, I think they actually ended up winning National Signing Day, if I remember correctly. They got some good flips.
Yeah.
All right,
Georgia people want to come.
Georgia Bulldogs. I'm not gonna argue against it. They're the first. No, they're the first title contender. It's Georgia.
Listen to my
No.
point. Please listen to my
No.
point here. I want you to listen to the point of a fan, okay? Of a fan that pays attention to this team every.
I got it.
Now,
I get it. Okay.
This is actively changing because of what's going on in the transfer portal and the people that we're picking up. From a standpoint a week ago, after that game, looking at who we're losing, looking at who we're going to have next year, I think next year is going to be another average year for Georgia. You know, we probably make it to the playoffs. We probably don't do well in the playoffs, and that's that. Because of the talent that we're going to be developing for the following year. I don't think next year we're title contenders. I think the following year we're going to be title contenders. Now, at this point, with the way that, you know, I watched Gunnar Stockton play last week, and transfers that we've had come in, this will further change if we end up with a new wide receiver coach and a new O-line coach. If we end up with both of those, I think we're title contenders. At this point, I'm in between. If you think I should throw them on title contenders, I'll do it.
People, like, you can say what you want. Georgia was still a title contender this year. They won the SEC.
Then I'll leave them right there.
They were still technically a title contender, even though they obviously didn't play like one against Notre Dame. But you won the SEC. You're a title contender if you win the SEC. As much as I hate SEC bias, the SEC is still good.
Fair enough.
The SEC is still amazing. Like,
Fair
we're
enough.
not going to argue against that. Georgia Tech, I got to go above average here. I mean, I think Haynes King's coming back next year. I think this team's trending upwards. I don't think there's much to say about this other than, like, I think they're just going to consistently improve, just like Vanderbilt. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think they lost to Vanderbilt in the bowl game, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think it is. It's as simple as that. Georgia Tech's going to be great. I think definite bowl team, probably 8 wins, 9 wins next year, I think.
Yeah. This is
Illinois.
Illinois. I'm putting them at above average. They finished 10-3.
I would put the honest to God. I mean, I know we're not ranking within, but I would, if we were, I'd put them at the top of above average. I think they are so close.
Yeah.
They were so close this year. They were one close game against. If they played Oregon close and didn't get blown out, we would be having different discussions here about Illinois. They beat South Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting Luke Altmaier back next year. I'm almost positive. I don't know what else is coming back, but if you get your starting quarterback coming back, you're instantly, like, if you get a good starting quarterback coming back next year like that, you're instantly above average and you're pushing playoff contention. I think Illinois is in a great spot.
I agree.
Indiana. Or do you want to keep going about Illinois?
No, I don't really know too much about them. I just know they had a pretty decent season and they were very close to, playoff contention. But
if you actually look at their resume like beats out a lot of teams that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. Indiana.
Playoff contender. I can't say otherwise. You're coming off of an 11-1 regular season.
Yeah.
Can't say otherwise. It's as simple as that. Maybe they flop and they only go above average. Yeah, I don't think this is a debate here. I think everyone's expecting, especially with how I want them. I need them to be playoff contenders for Kirk Cignetti's sake.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that they're one of the best teams in the country and like really, really one of the best teams in the country. For his sakes, I hope they're playoff contenders.
Yeah.
Iowa State.
I would too, because Kurt Cignetti.
Oh yeah,
coach of the year for sure. I think he
actually he won it.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was.
Yeah.
Either him or Dillingham, I think. It
was Kurt Cignetti, but he deserved that, and Indy had a good year.
And also, I don't know what Rourke's season looks like next. I don't know what his eligibility looks like next year. I think he's coming back.
I don't think he is. I'm pretty sure he's going.
I'm
to
not sure. I couldn't tell you.
I think Curtis is going to the
But he played the
draft.
whole season on a torn ACL.
Yeah, I did see that. That's kind of crazy.
That's pretty wild to me.
All right, hold on.
But
I think the next row we should do, pretty rapid fire.
Gotcha. Okay. Iowa State. They play in the Big 12. They almost won the Big 12 championship this year. Where would you put them? I would be above average or playoff contenders?
They were playoff contenders this year. I don't see much changing next year within
right,
the
go
Big
for
12. Let's go ahead and throw them in the playoff contenders. Iowa,
Bang. Iowa, above
bowl team.
average.
I think they're just a
Bowl
bowl
team.
team. It's
All right.
how many wins did they finish with this year?
Dude, they played Missouri in a bowl game. They
You're
think
right.
they finished
They played
ranked.
an SEC team. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right. I was
Even if
totally
it's
wrong.
8, even if it's 8 wins, like it's
Yeah.
still a above average season from them. Kansas State.
They had a pretty bad season, didn't they?
They had a disappointing season. I wouldn't say bad season, but they had a disappointing season. I think they only finished with 8 wins. They were projected to win. They were up there. They were supposed to be up there in the Big 12 this year. They didn't finish great, but we'll put them above average for,
I agree
for
with
now.
that one.
Kansas. I'll give
This
them
was
bowl
another.
team.
This was another.
They played horrible. They played
Yeah.
horrible, but
Had
they
big wins.
played well sometimes.
One
yeah,
big win
put them
or
bowl,
two big
Put them
wins.
bowl team. That's
think bowl
good with
team?
me. That's good with me. I'll put them bowl team. I can't say they're going to be that bad.
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I want to hear what you have to say about this. We can pause the rapid fire for this one. I know you have thoughts. I have thoughts as well.
I have joking thoughts. Just
You
so
have
we're
joking
clear.
thoughts. I have serious thoughts that
I
someone
could not.
is
They
not gonna
lost.
be very happy with.
They lost so much in the transfer portal, bro.
They lost a lot.
Dane Key and Barry Brown. They're 2 stud wide receivers.
You have
And
to
they
also
finished
think about
4
who
and
they
8.
lost for
Didn't
the
they
draft.
finish 4 and 8? Didn't they
Yeah.
finish 4 and 8 this year?
Yeah.
Dude, I can't see them outside of bad next year.
I
I really can't.
My
I'm
thoughts
sorry.
are
I'm
next
sorry,
year
but like
they're going to do really bad again next year. Mark Stoops is going to get the can. They're going to have a new coach. They're going to be a bowl game team after they get the new coach, and then they're
after
going
they
to
get
get
the- gotcha.
and then they're going to get some transfers, and then they're going to be
Okay.
back to a decent SEC team. I don't know where it goes from
But
there, but
they're-
I think next
they're gonna
year,
be bad next year.
I think
they're gonna be
next
bad.
year they're going to be bad, and Stoops is getting the can, and
I
they're going
think
to go
Mark's-
up from there. They're going to go up from there.
Everyone talks about how overpaid James Franklin is.
Stoops
Go look at his contract and come back to me. All
Stoops
right.
is the worst coach, hands
For
down.
contract wise,
Yeah, for what he's
is
getting
the worst
paid.
head coach.
For
Yeah,
what he's getting paid. All right,
All right,
Louisville.
we'll
They
go
were
back
pretty
to
decent the
Louisville.
last few years. I think we can.
I'll give them above average.
Yeah.
100%. They
They've been
finished with
pretty
8
decent
wins
the
this
last few
year.
years. LSU.
Above average. I'm not going to
I
call them
don't
playoff
think I can put
contenders.
them at playoff contenders.
Brian
either.
Kelly sucks. He's horrible. I hate Brian Kelly. Maryland. I have more of an opinion on this. They're dog shit. Put them in bad right
Okay.
now. They suck. All right.
All right,
Miami.
ACC. They're gonna be
Playoff
contenders
contender.
in the
Yeah.
ACC.
Yeah. Sure. That's fine. Michigan State.
Michigan
This
State.
one is so interesting. Very interesting. Jonathan Gannon. I think that's his name.
Oh no!
What
Hold on.
happened?
I didn't do
Oh,
anything.
no.
Don't worry
Technical-
about it.
Technical
the wrong button.
difficulties. All right, we're back. All right, Jonathan Gannon. He came over from Oregon State this year. Everyone was expecting Michigan State to be decent this year. They ended up not being great. They ended up, I think, finishing on a 6-game losing streak, if I'm not mistaken. Either a
Something
6-game
like that. It
losing
was
streak,
bad.
or they started 4-2, and then they finished the season either 5-7 or 4-8. I don't fully remember. I could see this team possibly. I think his name's Aiden Chili's or something like that. Or I don't know how to say his. I don't remember his name. He's not bad. I think he's coming back next year. I could see them being 6 wins when make a bowl game. I know you don't have an opinion on it.
Cusp.
I could see a bowl game.
Bowl team.
100%. I could see them making a bowl game. I don't think they'll be above average, but I think they'll be a bowl game.
No.
Michigan. I'm not gonna lie to you. They finished the season 8-5, and I think they had horrible quarterback play. Like they had probably one of the worst quarterback rooms in Power 5.
They didn't know
and
what
they
to
finished
do.
8-5. They're losing a lot on defense, but they got a guy named Bryce Underwood that's coming in. I don't know if he's starting next year. We won't know
You
obviously
gotta give
for a
him a
while.
year. You may have to give
you
him a year.
I've seen they fired their offensive coordinator. I think they're going to bring in a new one. Wink Martindale's still there as a defensive coordinator. I genuinely think this team could be a playoff contender next year. I really do.
I was hesitant to put them in above average because they're
Hesitant?
between there for me. No, like
Oh.
hesitant and that
Gotcha.
way.
Okay, I got what you're saying.
We'll throw them in there. I don't
That's
think
fine
you're wrong.
for now.
Minnesota. Golden Gophers.
A bowl team. Don't even think about it. They were a bowl team this year.
Mississippi State, absolutely horrendous SEC team. They're staying.
It's unfortunate what happened to them. Rest in peace, Mike Leach. But that program,
year or two.
That program is completely set back because of that, and it's not looking up from here.
NC
State. Again, I mean ACC. They were supposed to be good this year. They sucked this year. I'm gonna give them bowl team, bro. I mean
bowl team. Yeah.
They made a bowl game. They snuck into a bowl game this year, and they really didn't have a great year
Nebraska. I think
above average. I think they can improve next year under Matt Rule again.
I think they could.
I really think so.
I think they had a little bit of a disappointing year. Everyone was hyping them up, especially with Viola and stuff. It was just.
I don't think they had I think people. What happened was. I wouldn't say they had a disappointing year because I don't think anybody expected Nebraska to be that good at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But once they won, they started 4-0, I think, and I think people got a little bit ahead of themselves, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then they kind of fell off, and they made a bowl game. They won the bowl game, so I'll give them above average. I can't see them. I'm not going to see them declining. Northwestern. I mean, I'm going to go bad.
How did they do this year?
I don't even think they made a bowl game. I don't think so. They made a bowl game last year. They made a bowl game last year.
Oh, yeah, man. They were just as bad as Maryland. Yeah. 4-8.
Just put them in bad. Put them in
They're
bad.
sitting there.
Notre Dame. Title contender. Title
I
contender.
misplaced it.
Remember that? Yeah, they don't play in a conference. They're a title contender. They're going to be a 7 seed or 8 or a 5 to 7 seed almost probably every year. Ohio State again. That one's obviously. Oklahoma State. They had one of the worst seasons this year. I don't know if you knew that. They're losing. They're going to lose Ollie Gordon this year, and that was their only saving grace this year. I genuinely think they're going to be trash next year, and I think Mike Gundy's going to get the can at some point, just like Mark Stoops. I would put them in bad. They went 3-9. They went 3-9 in the Big 12.
Okay. All right.
It was bad.
Okay.
Oklahoma. This is a team that is trending up. I especially Portal. I'm not gonna say playoff contender. I'm gonna say above average. I think they get back to an 8 or 9 win team, and I think they're good. I think they're good right there for right now.
Okay. Fair enough.
Brett Venables is.
I'm moving too fast, aren't I? You go ahead. Go ahead.
A little bit, but no. Brett Venables doing a good job. They're bringing in who I forget who they got in. Oh, John Mateer from Washington State.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Great pickup in the portal. Their quarterback might be a Heisman contender next year. You know how Oklahoma is sometimes.
Oklahoma. I know they don't have. They were great this year, minus the imagine. I can only imagine.
Where I know they were down to. I mean, they lost to Navy in a bowl game, but again, even when they got healthy, I think then their receivers transferred and stuff. They had a very odd season, and they still made a bowl game, which I think is pretty good being in the SEC. Ole Miss, playoff contender. I don't know what their quarterback situation looks like, but they're going to be a 9 to 10 win team every year.
Yeah.
Oregon, I guess. I guess you got to say national title contender.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. They got Dante Moore stepping up next year. He used to be at UCLA. Now he transferred in from Oregon. They're bringing in a lot of portal guys. They brought in Bear Alexander. I think they had the #1 recruiting class this year.
What a guy!
But they brought in Bear Alexander.
State, Georgia, Oregon.
Okay,
that's crazy.
He's still talented. He's definitely
talented.
Still has talent. He's talented. He just needs to figure it out. I guess attitude-wise or something. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know how to talk about Bear Alexander. We're getting a little off track here, but yeah, they're bringing in some good portal guys. I think they have the #1 recruiting class in the country. They're gonna be good next year. Penn State.
The floor is yours.
I'm not gonna lie. So Drew's coming back next year.
Yep.
Unless something crazy happens, we win the national championship. He plays amazing. He goes to the draft. But we'll get there when we get there. This is right now. I'm gonna say we play Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana next year. I don't know if we can. I know we're national title contenders this year. I don't know if we're gonna be national contenders next year. I'm gonna put us in playoff contention. I'm gonna play if we were ranking within the tiers, I would put us at the top of playoff contention.
You said those three teams, and I was like, ooh.
I know. It's going to be we get Oregon at home, though, which is good. We get Oregon at home, which I think is good. I don't know where we play Indiana. I think we're going to lose to Ohio State again next year. It's,
James Franklin.
The GOAT! Okay. All right, but no, Penn State, I think for right now, I'm going to say playoff contenders until their offense is going to be great next year. I don't know how their defense is going to be. They're losing a lot on defense next year.
Let's rapid fire until Texas. Okay?
Gotcha.
Rapid fire. Get some.
Well, we could stop on Tennessee, maybe. We could stop on Tennessee, maybe.
We'll touch on Tennessee,
Yeah.
but,
Pitt, bowl team.
Yep.
Purdue, bad. Rutgers, bowl team. They made a bowl game this year. I'll give them a bowl game
They
next
did make
year.
a bowl game this year.
Stanford, I'm going to go ass. I think they were ass this year in the
How bad
ACC.
were they this year?
I think they were pretty bad.
Let's see how bad they were. Oh, they finished like dead last in the SEC besides the ACC besides.
Yeah.
That's on
All
me.
right.
Negative
All right.
knowledge on that one.
Syracuse. Call me crazy. Kyle McCord's coming back.
To the
Playoff
promised
contenders.
land.
Playoff contention. Playoff contention.
Okay, all right. Kyle
Shout out
McCord to the
AJ.
promised land.
AJ's a Syracuse guy.
I don't blame him. Kyle McCord is him.
Again, ACC, they could be playing for an ACC championship next year, so I think there's definitely no doubt that they could be in the playoff next year for sure. They finished great this year.
Yeah.
They really did. But yeah, I think they're going to be pretty good next year. TCU, they made a bowl game this year.
finished,
I agree with that. I agree with
9-4
that.
or something,
Above
yeah.
average, I could see that being in the Big 12 for sure. Tennessee I guess Emi Aliava's coming back. Dylan Sampson's going to the league. I know that.
I see.
I'm gonna put them above average.
I think.
I know they made the
really don't think
playoffs,
they're playoff
but
contenders next year.
I
think
again,
there's so many SEC teams.
One of
next
the
year
most
that are going to
one
be
of
pretty
the
decent.
most overlooked coaches that doesn't get enough hate that he should is Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel has done nothing in his tenure at Tennessee other than beat Alabama, and that is it. He has never won an SEC championship. He's never made an SEC championship. He is a worse version of James Franklin, just so we're clear here.
Fair enough.
Texas Tech made a bowl game. They made a bowl game this year. I'll give them a bowl game
They'll
next
do
year.
it next
Sure.
year.
Texas. I mean, dude, you got Arch Manning. You're gonna bring in. I think probably is Wisner coming back next year. I don't know if Isaiah
I don't
Bond's
know,
coming
but it
back
doesn't
next
matter,
year.
man. They are title
Their offense is
contenders
gonna.
through and through next year.
Yeah, they're if they're title contenders with Quinn Ewers. I mean, Quinn Ewers is a great quarterback in my opinion. I think he's very overhated. But if you're gonna be that good of a team with Quinn Ewers, again, I don't think you're gonna be. I think you're gonna be even better with Arch Manning next year, especially when he gets a full year of reps as a starter. UCLA, they're kind of on the come up. They finished the season strong, but they started really bad.
Really bad.
I think I could see them making a bowl game next year. I really think I could. I think
year.
he'd get a bowl game next year.
This is interesting.
North Carolina.
This is a good one. Bill Belichick.
North Carolina. Give me.
I think we're gonna have a Deion Sanders situation here. Let's make them a bowl team.
They're not going to be that bad next year. They're not going to be 4-8 or whatever it was.
I'm not saying they're going to be horrible.
Yeah.
I'm saying they're going to go from bad to pretty decent. They get a bowl game.
The thing is,
and
they're going to
see a season where they could be playoff contenders.
They're going to end up they're going to end up getting a lot of recruits because of Bill Belichick this year. Those recruits may be young, but then they'll progress and then they'll get
They're
better.
going to develop under Belichick, and he's going to.
It's like the same situation with Florida, probably. That's end up going to happen.
He was speaking on making it a more NFL
pro
style program.
Yep.
Yeah.
His goal is to just produce NFL talent. That's his goal. Is just to get guys. To
I see
league.
a playoff contender within the next couple years. I think, but
I think so. Not next year though. Not next year.
No, not next year.
Yeah.
USC.
I hate Lincoln Riley as a head coach. I really don't like him as a head coach. Is he a bowl team? Probably. They lost Zachariah Branch. They lost Deuce Robinson. I don't think they're going to have Woody Marks next year. They lost so much to the portal, and then they underperformed like crazy with the guys that they lost to the portal. They're not going to be good next year, I don't think. Yeah. I think they're going to be a bowl team. I'll give them a bowl team, but outside of that, they're not going to be great. Utah.
Ass.
Is Cam Rising coming back for the 11th year?
Doesn't matter. They're not making a bowl
Who
game
knows?
next year.
They're so weird. You really don't think so?
Nope.
Okay.
Same as this year.
We'll revisit this in a while, but
yeah,
you never know.
Utah. Everyone's like, "Oh, Utah's gonna be so good." 5-7. Virginia. What did they do this year?
I don't remember, to be quite honest with you. They may have won a bowl game. They may have made a bowl game. I could be wrong though. I'm not gonna say any. I couldn't tell you.
They finished 12th in the ACC, going 5-7. They didn't even make a bowl game this year.
Very close though. Very close to a bowl game. I think it could improve. I think.
We can improve a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll give him a bowl game. Just give him one. Screw it. Virginia Tech. They did better. Brent Pry. They did. They did. But they ended up losing. They did end up losing that bowl game. To Minnesota. I think it was the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I could see them. Here's the thing. Could you see them being an 8-win team next year?
No. I don't know if I can.
Put them in bowl game.
All right, simple
Put them
enough.
in bowl game then. We'll revisit this. This is so early. We have no idea what this is really good.
Wazoo.
They lost John Mateer. They lost a good amount to the portal. I'll give them a bowl game. I don't see much else. Did they even make a bowl game this year? Did they make a bowl game?
Yeah.
Oh, they did? Okay, I wasn't sure.
I
don't remember who they played, but
they lost to Kyle McCord.
Oh yeah. That's right.
They lost to
But
Kyle
I'll give them they're losing a lot. They are losing a good amount, I think, especially John Mateer.
Hey, they finished first in the Pac-2.
Hey. If you ain't in that conference, if you ain't first, you're last. So
I'm gonna,
No. They're losing. They're losing the main reason they were really good this year with John Mateer. It's gonna be rough. It might not be the greatest year for them next year, but they could still make a bowl game. Washington, I'm gonna go above average. I think they got something cooking with Jed Fish up there. They lost so much. I think people again were overrating them and they were overrating them too. They were rating them so highly way too early, just like Nebraska. What you really look at what they lost offensively and defensively from the Natty team, it's amazing what they did with the team they had this year.
Done, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy what they lost last year, and I don't think people realize that. West Virginia, they don't have Neil Brown anymore. All right. I'm not going to disagree with you. West Virginia fans are very delusional, just so we're clear here. They thought they were going to beat us by 3 scores at the beginning of the year, just so we're clear. And I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding?
No.
Those West Virginia fans are delusional. But I could see them giving a bowl game. Wisconsin, the last team. What a disappointment of a year this year. Luke Fickell has been doing a horrendous job at Wisconsin. I mean, you got to put emphasis on that because everyone thought he was going to come in and revamp this program.
Hey man, that's your conference. You know more about that than I do.
Dude, I'm telling you. You know Luke Fickell though. He was with those Cincy teams with Ritter and Sauce Gardner. Dude. Luke Fickell has not been doing a good job, and he could end up getting fired soon. I'm not going to lie. He's really not doing well. But I'll give him a bowl game next year. I don't think they'll be that bad. They didn't miss a bowl game. How do you miss a bowl game as Wisconsin?
Yeah.
That's rough. All right. So,
finally.
Way too early. 2025 tier list. We'll go through them real quick. So we have as Natty contenders going into next year, Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, which I don't think people will disagree with on that. Playoff contenders, Florida, South Carolina, Arizona State, Alabama, Clemson, Indiana, Iowa State, Miami, Michigan, Ole Miss, Penn State, Syracuse. Again, I think this is the bracket that could shift a lot depending on what happens going into spring and going into the summer. And then above average, we have A&M, Vanderbilt, Baylor, Duke, Georgia Tech, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas State, Louisville, LSU, Nebraska, OU, TCU, Tennessee, Washington. Bowl games, Missouri, Wake Forest, Arizona, Arkansas, Cal, Boston College, Colorado, FSU, Kansas, Michigan State, Minnesota, NC State, Pitt, Rutgers, Texas Tech, UCLA, UNC, USC, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Washington State, West Virginia, Wisconsin. Again, this is another one. Some teams could be above average next year. Some teams could be bad next year.
Oh yeah.
This is the very gray areas, the bowl games. Now the bad: Oregon State, Auburn, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi State, Northwestern, Oklahoma State, Purdue, Stanford, and Utah. Now, again, this is based off of how we think they'll do within their conference. Obviously, if you compared Auburn to, I don't know, maybe like a Wake Forest, they might be a lot better, but in conference, there's going to be a lot of teams. There's going to be, those teams probably won't be the greatest. All right.
Okay.
So, to do the outro, we'll take it off the screen for now. We'll stop screen sharing. Like I said, I will be at the game on Thursday. I'll be making content. I will keep y'all updated. We have great seats. So the views for the camera are going to be very nice.
Big time.
Yeah. And this will probably be the last college football podcast for a while, unless we really want to break down. If we do break down the national championship, we might incorporate it with a divisional round for NFL or something.
Yeah, something like that. Just throw it in at the end or the beginning real quick, and just give quick thoughts, and then move into the NFL playoffs.
And then also probably gonna hit some NBA soon, and also we're about 2-3 months away from baseball, so a lot of stuff that's gonna be happening sooner rather than later. I am very ready for baseball season. I love baseball season.
Oh, I love baseball, but local team, man.
Rays are in shambles right now. Not even because of their team,
right
more because of their stadium.
Stupid storms. All right, anyways,
gotta love hurricanes. But yeah, I will keep y'all updated on Thursday about all that's going on in the game. And for now, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you guys liked it.
Yeah, I mean,
if you did if you enjoyed your time here, click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought on the tier list. That's a big emphasis. Whether you liked us doing the tier list or whether you have different opinions on the tier list.
Yeah, maybe an actual segment instead of the tier list. If it was liked, if it wasn't, if you want to see different tier lists, of course, go follow the socials and stuff like that. But
exactly. So. I got nothing else to say. I don't know about you.
I don't think I do either. I mean...
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
Cameron's back. Enjoy your football this weekend. There's not a lot left.
Oh, yeah.
And have a fantastic day or night whenever you're watching this. See ya.